We're here to inspire, inform, and connect a community of entrepreneurs. I'm Mark Lack on Business Rockstars. Our guest today joining us is Malini Bhatia, and she's the founder and CEO of Marriage.com. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you so much, Mark. So happy to be here today.
So, Marriage.com, obviously that's something to do with marriage, but tell me about, what does your company do?
So Marriage.com is a website that provides expert advice, positive information, and trusted resources on marriage. It really is, the first step for anybody who's seeking information or advice on marriage. It's like your confidant, where you can get access to therapists, and it's especially good for people who don't have resources to seek therapy, and for those people who are not ready to speak to their family or friends about issues that they're having in their marriage. So it's a place where you can get advice and information on marriage without really being judged.
Which is, I feel like, a huge opportunity to capitalize on, because I don't remember the most recent statistics I read, though, were in California alone and across the US, the average divorce rate is about 50% for first-time marriages, 65% for second-time marriages, and over 75% divorce rate for third-time marriages.
You are absolutely right.
And so you guys are capitalizing on a huge opportunity here.
Clearly there is a need in the space, absolutely.
So what do you feel like is some of the underlying causes behind why marriages are failing? I feel like there's a huge thing, but I just wanted to dive into this now up front, and then I want to know what inspired it. But answer that first question for me.
I think lack of commitment. I think impatience.
Yeah.
You know, you just have to give it time. You have to be committed. You have to keep in mind certain aspects of marriage that really need to be invested in. So I think people need to really give it a shot, and I think that is it. You need to be invested in your relationship for it to happen, to make it work.
How do people find Marriage.com? Is it something where you guys are doing a lot of paid advertisements? You guys do a lot of social media content marketing? How are people ultimately coming onto the website?
So it's going to be organic search right now. We're focusing.
So you guys are really capitalized on when people are typing in how do I fix my marriage, things like that? Okay.
Yes, we'd like them to find us when they are searching for issues that they're going through in their marriage. Right now, we're really focusing on building the content, really trying to get it right for our audience, trying to get them what they need, the kind of advice that they need, connecting them to the experts that are existed out there. So that's really the focus right now. The next step is going to be in terms of having them find us on organically.
Okay, and what inspired you to create this Marriage.com?
So I think I had a deep passion to really support people and provide meaningful value in their lives. That was my inspiration for launching Marriage.com. Prior to Marriage.com, I was working in my parent company. I was wearing many different hats, from operations to finance, but that was not my thing. My desire was to really do something more meaningful. So there was also that phase in my life where a lot of people in my life were going through difficult times in their marriages, which was either leading them to get a divorce, be separated, or they were just living with each other for the sake of it without being emotionally or physically connected. So, so that really made an impression. And it was that time when we had the opportunity to acquire the domain name Marriage.com, which
that was what I was going to ask. I was going to say Marriage.com. That's like, you guys cashed in on that, because I feel like that was probably bought from day one.
We actually really got lucky. We got the opportunity. It was up for sale. It was an area which I really wanted to be in.
How much did you have to pay for Marriage.com? Was it expensive? I feel like sometimes domains can go for like $1 million.
It was a very expensive domain and a lot of hard-earned money that went into it. But there's no looking back. It was clearly something I wanted to really do. And incidentally, Marriage.com ran as a wedding website, completely different focus. So we decided...
It's so broad, it's just marriage.
Correct.
So.
And so because I believed in the fact that there was a need in this area, I decided to completely change the focus from weddings, which is one day in a person's life, to marriage, which is like a lifetime event for somebody. So that's how Marriage.com was born. And I think the need and the statistics that you mentioned, as well as my deep desire to help people and provide meaningful value, is what inspired me to launch this company.
How are you guys using social media? I feel like social media is something that, if you guys have the right strategy, you guys could be drawing just tons of traffic to Marriage.com. So how are you guys using social media right now?
Basically, we are capitalizing on all the platforms, Facebook, Instagram.
Do you not run those departments, so you don't know how you guys are capitalizing on like the strategies behind what you're doing in regards to running ads?
That's an area which does need more work, but we have plans to capitalize them in a way that we are able to reach our audience way better than we're currently doing.
Okay, nice. Because I feel like, if you guys can capitalize on the social media part of Marriage.com, how do you guys monetize it, though? Like, that's something that I'm curious to know about.
So like I said, right now, I think the focus is not on the monetization. It's really to create something which is so meaningful and valuable. Eventually, we're going to look at advertising as the monetization strategy. We're still looking to build a lot more traffic to the website. And eventually, we want to, there's so many other forms of monetizing, but I think it would start with advertising.
You said you want to talk about some things.
Yeah.
In regards to Marriage.com. So what are those things?
So I've been married, and I've been married 12 years with my husband. And interestingly, what I find is that the principles for a strong, healthy marriage can actually be applied to entrepreneurship or starting your business. And I just want to talk through a couple of things that are very similar. For example, commitment. It takes, marriages go through lots of highs and lows, ups and downs. It takes commitment to make it work. And in a business as well, it's not easy starting a business. It takes unwavering commitment to take it through from one stage to the other. So that's one common. Then I think communication. We've read so much material about how communication is critical between spouses in a marriage. And I think in a company as well, communication with the partners, team members, and with your customers is so important. And I think lack of communication in a company fosters negativity or misunderstandings, which is not the ideal situation to be in. And I want to talk about a point which is very close to my heart, which is health and fitness. And I feel that being healthy and fit induces joy in a relationship. It's like a renewed relationship.
It releases certain endorphins and alters your biochemistry and the way that you think and feel, which alters how you behave.
Absolutely.
And then ultimately, if the way you think, feel, and behave is different, your results will be different. And so ultimately, if you do want to get different results in a relationship, a lot of the times I see that the happiest, healthiest, wealthiest, most abundant relationships are the ones that are usually people that are both mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually fit. So I'm glad that you brought that up.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think you're more joyful, and if you're two joyful people, you can be happy together. And I think in a company as well, I think productive employees are healthy employees, and it's important to foster the good health and good work-life balance amongst your staff. And then there's, I think, love. Love is the foundation of any marriage, and a business is a labor of love. So love for who you are with and what you do really helps you to take you through tough times in life. And the one thing I think that ties into every principle that I've talked about is positivity. I think in general, if you have a positive state of mind in your marriage, in your relationship, and in your company, things work out better. You see it, successful.
Yeah, I think having an optimistic outlook on everything is probably one of the best mindset shifts a lot of people can have. And I've noticed that whether it is in business, whether it is in relationships across the board, or marriage in this case, having positivity and coming from a place of love is definitely, I think, a key principle that a lot of people can model.
Absolutely.
What else? Is there anything else? I know you said you had a list of a few things you want to touch on.
I think that's about it. These are the few things that which I consider very important, and it's amazing how these principles are similar between a marriage and a company. And it's just a good finding, and I'm happy to share this today.
But what are you guys doing to create an environment within your business that allows people to continue to learn and allow them to thrive?
So right now we're operating it's a lean team that I have. Thankfully, I have access to my parent company, resources from my parent company. We're looking to grow this team. But again, what's really exciting is that everybody in and who's working on Marriagecom is very passionate. They all, they really believe in the need for something like this. They all have this vision and mission to make a difference. And I think that's that common goal for all of us is the best part. And we are all kind of connected in the way we are thinking, and it makes it easier to work with each other.
What's your advice to the aspiring entrepreneur who you once were at one point, who's struggling in a position that may be similar to what you once were in, and myself as well, where I've got a 9-to-5 job, I've got bills to pay, and my income just allows me to pay my bills. I'm not living paycheck to paycheck, maybe, but maybe I've got just enough money to barely save a couple $1,000s a year. And maybe I've even got a family and mouths to feed and bills to pay and responsibilities, but I really have a passion for business and entrepreneurship. I just don't know when the right time to cut the cord is. What do you say to that person?
I think it's important to face your fears. If you have the fear of just like going ahead, doing it, follow your gut, do it, face your fears. overcoming your fears isn't easy, but it has to be done when you start a business. I recently, in fact, read a statement from the co-founder of Huffington Post, which said that fearlessness is like a muscle. The more you practice it, the better you become at it. So I think that's what I would say. You know, I faced the fear or the risk that I was facing for Marriage.com was really, I wanted to take it in another direction, but there was already this full-fledged business that was around weddings for Marriage.com. I scrapped out the whole thing. So I faced that fear. I took the risk, which is so...
you did it.
I did it, and I'm so glad I did. Because
what were we going to say?
I'm glad I did it because I really believed in it.
And I think that's one of the big keys there is that your beliefs ultimately will determine how you think, feel, and behave. You have somebody who has limiting beliefs that, you know, constantly make them ask questions like, what if I fail? What if it doesn't work out? What if I get rejected? What if this happens?
Correct.
And then you have beliefs that are like, hey, you know, quiet that little mind in there that's trying to keep me safe in my survival mindset. I'm going to focus on the thriving mindset.
Absolutely.
And that is maybe still a what if question, but it's not what if I fail, what if I get rejected, what if I'm not good enough, but it's what if I succeed?
Absolutely.
What if I go beyond my wildest dreams? What if the right partnership comes into my life when I least expect it? And you reframe your questions in a positive sense, coming from a thriving mindset versus a surviving mindset. And
Absolutely.
I feel like that's probably come from a lot of your spiritual development.
I think that has been a very important part in the way I've started out the business. I was able to face this fear. I was able to do what I believed in and really put in that positive energy, which I was able to get from my spiritual beliefs, yes.
You were saying pushing through your fears was something that you not only did, but something that you would advise others to do as well.
Absolutely.
It reminds me of a quote from Tony Robbins, and he says, it's something, your life begins at the end of your comfort zone.
Absolutely.
And it always reminds me that, you know, when I first heard that, it was kind of like gave me goosebumps because I was like, man, that means like the best version of myself is going to be at the other side of pushing through my comfort zone. And so for me, whether it's being on camera, whether it's being on stages, things that most people are afraid of doing, I've always forced myself to just get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
And like you said, right, the more you push through fear, the more you lift weights, the more you grow. And the more you push through fear, the more comfortable you get with pushing through a fearful moment. And so I think that's probably the best way to wrap this up is you got to push through your fears. And I'll end it with one more quote from a dear friend, Joe Polish. And he says, successful people are moving scared. Unsuccessful people are frozen stiff.
Perfect.
And so you can truly be a successful person on your journey and still be scared. It's okay, but you keep persevering and pushing through.
Go for it. Just keep going ahead.
Malini, it was a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you so much. So happy to be here. Thank you.
I'm Mark Lack on Business Rockstars, connecting a community of entrepreneurs. Join us on Facebook, Twitter, and online at businessrockstars.com.